Hey guys, it's Lucid Dreams coming back again, servicing the higher minds. Today I want to talk about toxic people. Toxic people. How do we rid of toxic people? First, you have to recognize them. So ask yourself, what is it costing me to hang out with this person? What is it costing me to have this person in my life? And by asking that question, you'll find every time that you'll figure out what it's costing you. Is it costing you your time, your energy? Are they draining you? Are they someone that just takes from you but doesn't control you? These are all things that I want to talk about today, because the more you rise and ascend, you'll notice that everywhere you look, there's toxic people. And that's a problem I have to this day. It could be family member, coworker, friends, it doesn't matter. So we need to recognize this, and as easy as it sounds, it's not so easy sometimes when it comes to someone you love. And then you have to put your self-worth first, and you have to realize that you have to get rid of these people. Just separate. You could love from a distance, and that's what I do. So do you find yourself constantly being bothered by someone or many people who want to hang out with you, and you find yourself like trying to find excuses not to be around them? Do you ever just get tired of having to explain yourself, where you're at, your phone's going off, you're like, constantly having to answer to somebody. Somebody's not trusting you, saying that you're doing something you're not. Somebody wants the world to revolve around them, food should be cooked at this time, you should be doing what they want you to do. Anytime you find yourself not being yourself and following in someone else's ways just to make them happy, to avoid confrontation and to keep peace, you're dealing with a toxic person. Toxic people, there's many different toxic people. And some toxic people come in and know that they're toxic and their goal is to control you. But some really just play victim. They don't even know they're toxic, and anytime you try to fix them or try to help them, it's always they're draining you for something else. It's like they're trying to see what all they can take from you, whether they know it or not. They need you as a crutch. Anytime that you need somebody else to complete yourself, there's a problem. And you want to avoid these people. You want to stay far away from these people as you can. So, and it's constant, it's constant. And most of these people live in the past. They are living in something that traumatized them, that's not set well with them, and they're carrying that in their inner side, in their inside. They are unable to live in the here and now by thoughts and emotions that set them back to something else. And this is where you get into polarity. I could take my life and what has happened that's unfortunate and let it make me or break me. And that's a polarity thing. If I let it break me, I'm going to be on the negative side. I'm going to continue on a negative path. And if I let it grow me and appreciate my lessons because I realized that it was stepping stones and building blocks to get where I am now, then I can appreciate the lessons and I can move forward. So anytime that somebody's coming into your life saying, you're always making excuses, you never want to hang out with me, let's do this, let's do that, making you do things you don't want to do just to appease someone, that's a toxic person, whether they know it or not. And I know we get this everywhere we go. And so self-work takes self-work. These people are so worried about being around other people that they're not working on self. They're not taking an inner reflection on self. It's important to have an inner reflection of self. Sorry about my camera. It's important to take the time, and that's oftentimes even people that are not toxic to me, I don't have over all the time because I'm working on self. What is it that I need to do to grow myself? You can't grow yourself when you have someone here in your way. It takes it takes really being alone and reflecting on one's own self and one's own needs. And that's where, the Bible talks about Adam and Eve was made to, be a benefit or be a companion to Adam. But it also says later in the Bible that it's not necessary that you have to have someone. It also says that if you can do this on your own, then that's just as fine as well. And I could pull that passage out, but I would have to look it up. But I read it myself, and so I'm just saying that, it doesn't matter. A lot of people look at me like, you're single. I've even had someone say, I feel so sorry for you, you're single with all these kids. No, don't feel sorry for me. This is the best time of my life. I found that in relationships, you find people that suck and drain your energy. I'm not trying to raise another child, I have no intentions on settling down for someone. Unless I find the right person, that's different. If I find someone that's, in the same mindset as I am, someone that doesn't text my phone and ask me where I'm at, I'm a trustworthy person. Don't drive me crazy. When I say that to someone, when I'm talking to someone about my wants, it's like most of the time the response is, well, that's just part of a relationship. I'm going to text you. I'm going to check on you. But why? There's a time that you guys can, that you could be intimate with someone, and there's a time that you need your own space. If I'm going to work and coming home, I'm not going to be questioned where I'm at constantly. That shows that a person needs another person to coexist, to survive. I don't need anyone to survive. I don't need anyone bringing me down. It's more so I'm not giving my energy to someone else just to make them feel complete. I'm just not. And that makes it hard. It makes it hard for someone who's ascending. It gets to be a very lonely world, in a sense. It would be great if I could just find all of you guys and we could have like a combine here with like-minded people growing together, growing each other, not stagnant and sitting back behind, feeling sorry for ourselves. Not trying to occupy our time with needless things like the bar or, things that isn't growing us. I find that all the time. I'm watching videos or self-learning or growth in the areas that I want to grow in. I'm writing a book. What I need to do is study on how to produce, edit, word flow, how to get this out here. That's what I want to study on. That's my passions. That's something I want to do. I feel that even work's taken me away from that. If it wasn't for me taking care of my uncle in my job, I'm not sure I would be at my job because it's limiting me. It's setting me back. I don't need it, And that's something I have to pull within myself, because you come into a point in time where it's like, I don't really want this job, but then I'm there for someone else. If you find that you're there for someone else, then it's not benefiting you. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm not free from this, even though I'm not in a relationship and that I could pretty much control my surroundings, there are things that pull me that are toxic to me, and I do it out of love for someone else. But is that love in return? Is that person loving you in the same kind of way in return? Usually no. Usually it's one-sided. Usually it's what they can take from you. It's what they need from you. It's the feeling that they can't survive without you. And it's sucking your energy. It's draining your life forces. And like I said, this is, to me, a little bit different situation. It's not just any patient. It's not just any situation. It is family, but that doesn't even matter either. I separate from family as well. And a lot of them are frustrated with me about it. And they feel a lack of love due to that. And I recognize, I don't feel bad, but I recognize and see that, sometimes I need to give people more of a chance. If somebody's coming to me in order to try to grow, that's great. But if somebody's coming to me in order to use me for something, which is most likely the case, then, that's when I separate. So you got to recognize people's intentions. And in this situation with my work, which is limiting me from traveling and things that I want to do in life, it's because my uncle, his health is unstable, and I don't know how much longer he will live, and I don't want to have regrets in that regards. I recognize that he feels so dependent on me that he needs me, and I'm not going to abandon him at the last stages of life, and that's the only difference here. And that is something I still fight with within me. And, it's day to day. Some days I feel like I'm not going to make it. Some days I feel like you are taking so much and your negativity is too much for me, and I'm going to walk away. And that could happen, because I'm that type of person that will not let too much of my energy be drained for any reason. I can recognize it. And I guess this video is to help you recognize it. It's to help you understand that, you have to ask yourself the question, what is the cost of me being around this person? What is it costing me? And if it's costing you, then it's not to be. And it's hard. Some people are fighting marriages. Some people are fighting just loved ones that, take advantage of the situation. Family members will use you, not knowing they're using you. And you could look back and you could think, man, look how many times this family member has helped me in my growing period. I need to help this person. But once you help this person, you understand that they're so stuck into the narcissistic victim that you can't rise them, and they suck your energy. And there comes a time that, you're not even wanting to come home. You're not even wanting to come to your own house because it's been taken over. Or if you're walking on eggshells just to appease somebody, to avoid conflict, it's time to separate. I don't care who they are. I don't care how bad their life is. We've all had a rough life. If you're going to play victim, you just simply can't. You can't let somebody play victim and you associate with that. You have to separate. So in a toxic world right now that we live in, there's a lot of people living in thoughts and emotions that no longer serve them, and they're stuck in the past. And that's where we get into the realm jumps, the realms. There's a difference between realms and dimensions, realms of consciousness and realms of dimensions. Realms of consciousness just mean that, like, for instance, if I was in a 3D realm of consciousness in my mind, if I was limited, set myself back living in the past, then I would live in a 3D perspective. I am not that way. I live in at least a five-dimensional consciousness. A five, and the fifth realm of consciousness is where my mind stays, even though that I'm not in the fifth dimension here on Earth. And that's why I tell you guys, when realms change as a collective whole, as a collective, when we all grow like you guys are, we then change the earth. We recreate things. We switch and rise in dimensions. We go from 3D to 4D, even though we didn't notice our transition. A lot of people just think, 4D is just another planet, dimension, place to go. No, it's right here on Earth. You can't see it until you match that energy. And there are some people that's never going to see it. But, as for me, I see everything in a 5D, 6D, a 6th realm consciousness, because my mind is expanded to the point where I can look out of space and time and look into this time and understand what this is. I don't have all the answers. I'm still learning. But I've learned that separation from toxic people is key. It's key. You can work on yourself all you want. You can sit there and grow yourself, but you can't do it around someone that's holding you back. Regardless if you know it, no matter how strong you are, they're bringing demons in your house. They're bringing demons in your space, which will still continue to play tricks on you. Things happen. Cars break down. Unfortunate situations happen when these people are around. It's all a part of growth. Yes, these people are around us. We were once them. Whether you think so or not, we were. And so I'm not saying to be cold-hearted to people. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. Try to help them grow. But if they're setting you back and they're not learning and they're not listening, then it's time to separate. And all you can do is pray for them and hope that they find their way to you one day, I did a video yesterday because I was going to get this out sooner. But we had a storm here. It looked like a tornado, and it preoccupied my mind, and I just literally got up from my video. But in that video, I was talking about how the rich and the poor doesn't hang out together. And I guess what I'm saying about that is I noticed that rich people, or people that are living luxury, and the Bible talks against this, so I'm just giving an example of the difference between a rich and famous person and a person that is in poverty. A rich and famous person's already living from a 5-dimensional consciousness. They're already understanding what life is, and they're already learning how to manipulate their own life. Most of those people are very self-motivated. They reach into their selves. They get up in the morning. They stretch. They exercise. They find their inner peace. They really connect with God at the beginning of the day. To say manifesting is just a form of witchcraft is insane. Do you think God wants us to be set back in the past? Do you think God wants us to be limited? No, He does not. He doesn't want us to suffer. He doesn't want us to go without. He wants to promise us beautiful things. He wants us to have what He promised us. It's just getting it, And not all famous people are evil. There are very many successful, even church people, that just keep on, getting blessed. It's like, how did they get there? How do they have this? And it's crazy because the more you rise and the more you become successful, and get into your path of living, the thing that you're supposed to do, the thing that you should have been doing all along. Work and money and the government has conditioned us to do things that we don't really want to do just to survive. But once you understand that that isn't nothing but something that sets you back, then you're able to grow and grow into your passions. You got gifts for a reason. You're supposed to work on those passions and gifts, and get better at them. And so I guess what I'm saying is that you don't see the rich hanging out with the poor, and the reason is it's a setback. It truly is a setback. When you're hanging out with somebody that feels sorry for me and takes and takes and takes, never has, they want to do what you're doing. Well, where's their self-work at? They're not getting it at the bar. They're not getting it while they're running around with their friends. They're not getting it while they're just going through the motions of life. Self-work is necessary. So if they're not putting self-work in, then it's just time to separate, and that's how you get the difference in levels. I feel like you could be in the 5D consciousness, and looking back on your past, you could see it as a 3D consciousness. You could see where you are now, and you could look back and be like, wow, I've been there and I've came up. And all you could really do is teach other people how to come up. And it's not easy. It's not easy to separate yourself from people you love, but once you realize that you are separated, it doesn't feel so lonely. Like when I said at the beginning of this video, it gets lonely. I can't get enough time on my own. I can't get enough time for my own thoughts. I'm not lonely at all. As a matter of fact, I'm busy with working on self. And the more I do so, and the more I don't let anyone interfere, the more I grow, and the more successful I am. And I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about just fulfillment of life, fulfillment of my own heart. Everything's going into center, and everything's aligning and balancing perfectly. And I know where I want to go, and I know I'm on my way, but I can't let anything stop me, not even my kids, not even anyone that could, to bring me down, My kids are younger, they all live here, but there's times where I think about them like when they're at their dad's, and that limits me. It's like, why worry? Why worry when I know that they're probably not in the safest environment, but I can't worry, take those worries out. And that's why I always say control thoughts and emotions. So the main thing about growing is, I've came so far in the past year, and I see it, and it's like incredible, and it's like, is this real, And it's all about separating yourself from people that no longer serve you, And even at this point in my life, I cannot just stop here, okay? I have to keep going. I can't stop here. It's like, now I'm comfortable. Now I'm happy with what I have, but don't stop here. You have to keep growing. A lot of people just stop, and they're like, it gets easy. In order to get in the flow state of things, in order to create things that unhuman-like things that happens out of passion, and it happens out of putting yourself to the test. If I was just to stop where I'm at, this is easy now. There's no competition here. This is where I'm at, and it's comfortable to me. And if I stop here, then there's no growth left, and it looks amazing. This is what I wanted, but why stop here? Because I could keep going, and that's what I'm doing. And we cannot get comfortable in our situation. We have to keep growing ourselves. It's always work. It never goes away, And so as the earth is switching into a fourth dimension, right now, in front of our eyes, it's already happening. It's like we have one foot in the door as a collective. Things will change, and stuff will fall away. But we have to understand that it's not easy, and things are happening. Hurtful and harmful things are happening to the planet as a whole in order to recognize what's happening. It's in order to recognize that this is not where we need to be. There's changes that need made, and once those changes are made, we grow together as a consciousness, collective whole. Metaphysics is going to be the next science, and revolutionary breakthroughs are happening right now. I do believe that we will have life on Mars. I have this in my book. I have never done a video about it, but I have been to Mars in astral travel. There is life there. It's a 66th dimensional life, and it's like they can't see us, or we can't see them pretty much, because they're so sped up. Their frequency is so sped up, but when I'm there matching their frequency, they have bodies. They're human. They're not aliens. So in other words, I went into the future is what I did. And I had a whole conversation, 2-hour conversation with a man that lived there. So, that's something that's in my book. But I'm telling you that this can happen on earth. We can rise our vibrations to the point where we separate, to the point where we're now the person that is living up here, looking back in time, even though the same people are in our time frame. So if you become famous and you're up here in a 5-dimensional mindset, okay? And just get rid of the thoughts of famous people are evil. I'm just saying, say I was successful and I get up here, living like the rich and famous, and I look back down here to everyone I left. Yeah, of course I gotta leave them. I can't stay where I'm at and get up here. And I find myself growing, and a lot of people that I know and I've been around my whole life are like, you don't want to hang out, you don't let me come over, you don't this, you don't that. Why are they so worried about you? Because they need something from you. They're taking something from you, whether they know it or not. Unless you are growing with me, then I have to grow away from you, you know? And it doesn't mean I don't love that person. It just means that if I cannot teach you and help you gain momentum into where I'm heading, then all you're doing is setting me back. So when I'm up here looking back and you're looking at me like, you know, I don't even know who you are anymore, but you have changed. You know, that's a self-reflection of them. If they're looking at me up here and saying, you've changed, I can't believe you, we used to be close, I thought you were cool, you know, that's all words. That's all their own emotions reflecting back, because you would have took them with you, but they weren't coming. Now, if you're up here and they're seeking that and they're wanting to grow, and you find that they can do self-work, then that's another thing. Help them. But most people are like leeches. They suck and drain your energy. They want so much what you have, but they can't get it. They can't get it on their own. And if they were to, even if you were to give them it, they would lose it, because they can't maintain a balance. So in order to rise and grow, when I talk about recreate, you know, in that last video, we need to recreate our story. Recreating our story means that we separate from what no longer serves us. We move forward and we advance in a way that we are growing selves, regardless of the surroundings. We don't care what everybody else is doing, but we know we're doing what we need to do. And we don't need anyone to hold our hand. We don't need anyone to be there. We can do it on our own through God, you know? And that's the main purpose of this video, and it's the main purpose of teaching how to grow and separate and how to recreate. If you want to recreate, you cannot stay stagnant where you're at. You have to separate. You have to understand that things are going to go away. The first time I went to Sedona, Arizona, I asked God, there's a vortex there, you know, powerful vortex churches. Actually, I was there last weekend. Me and my kids went, had a great vacation. We went to California and Sedona, Arizona. And my son got saved. My 9-year-old heard God speak to him, and he just said, "Mom, I heard God for the first time," and tears in his eyes. You know, every one of my children had tears in their eyes in this church that we were at, and yeah, it was wild. The church is actually a Roman Catholic built church, which I don't particularly like that. However, it's been through 3 different hands since then, and it's an altar. It's not a church, really. You don't hear a preacher speaking. It's an altar for prayer, and you'll get many different people coming in this area. And my son heard God, and he all of a sudden wanted to be baptized, and I was like, awesome. You know, he's only 9. So we went to a river not too far away, and you know, the natives to that land say that it's believed to be so holy there that they believe that the first man and woman to ever exist on earth lived here, you know, in this area. So the garden and the waters in the river would, in their opinion, be Adam and Eve, you know, the places, the origin of them. The Indians, you know, this is native to Indians, and it's just a powerful, holy place. And it's a touching center for me, and a reconnecting to everything. And when you're in the church, you know, you don't even have thoughts. And that's what something my kids said. It's like, we have no thoughts, Mom. Our thoughts are gone. We're not thinking anything. We're feeling and we're being. And that's the most highest it's you could feel within. And it's amazing. And so we went to this river, and I baptized my son. And it was so awesome. I don't even know why I even brought that up. But I guess what I'm saying is that the more I travel and the more that I grow myself and the more that I become who I was meant to be to begin with, I'm really just basically shedding all these layers of reality and perception that created this pseudo image of myself, this false belief of myself. I'm shedding that and I'm coming back into who I'm supposed to be and who I was to begin with before I fell. Before we all fell, we were holy, you know? Tricks and deception really cause you to fall back, and you know, love isn't love if it's drawing you back, if it's taking your energy away. In order to get where I'm going, I have to continue to grow. I have to continue to push. I have to continue to learn. I have to work daily on waking up and making sure my emotions and my thoughts are controlled. I can't wake up and saying, I hate this job, I do not want to go, I'm only doing it for someone else. Like, yeah, I feel this way. That's just a warning that I need to separate. I choose not to separate. So while I'm doing it, I have to make sure that I control how I feel about it. I'm not going to think ahead about what I got to do that I don't want to do. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to enjoy the drive there as I do it. I'm going to enjoy the interactions of life with someone else, you know, enjoy the process. And not think of all the things that set me back. I mean, you are in control of yourself. You can control your own emotions. When somebody comes to you and, you know, gives you this big pity party, I need you, can I move in, can I stay at your house, I want to hang out with you more, you have to understand that you can control your own thoughts about the situation. So if you tell somebody no, which you need to learn how to say no, but if you tell somebody no, you have to let it go. Don't sit and harvest and bask on the thought that you had to tell somebody no and now you don't know what they're going to do and now you feel sorry because now they're pulling you in even though they don't even know it. Their demons are pulling you in. That's what they want. They want this victim, you know, mentality. They're already inflicting into your space and you have to recognize that. You have to separate it. You said no for a good reason. You said no because you and your family are important. You said no because you're not going back to where you came from. You're growing. You know, you have to learn to say no to people, and you have to learn not to, you know, to control your thoughts and emotions in order to not let them inflict on you. Now, if you don't say no to someone, like, you know, my uncle, for instance, you know, I've chose to stick it out with him as long as I can, and it is out of love. It's different than somebody, you know, it's just hard to explain, but I stick it out with him due to the last stages of life. I feel like I have a purpose for him. You know, when I started taking care of him, he didn't believe in God at all. He doesn't know one verse out of the Bible. To this day, now he prays. He'll pray when he's scared because he can't breathe. He'll pray. And I look at God and I'm like, you know, I think there is a purpose for me to be here. You know, it goes beyond just somebody using me at that point when it comes to life, you know. And I'm not making excuses for myself. Like I said, if it gets out of hand, I will quit. I will walk away. I don't care, you know. I do see the inner work within him, you know, coming to full tilt. I see him wanting to change. Not that he's doing it really like the way I think he should do it, but in his own way, he's growing slowly. It's all about waking up in the morning and controlling your thoughts and emotions, waking up and giving everything to God, praying in the name of Jesus and thanking him for life, thanking him for the experiences and the opportunity. Don't wake up, you know, grouchy that you're having to be here. Wake up as it's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to live. It's an opportunity to get this right. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. And it's very important in your growing process. It's so important in recreating your story. So that way, when you're up here and you look back, you have nothing to feel bad about. When you're up here looking back, then things work out the way that it's meant and designed to work out. My electric has been off since 10 p.m. yesterday. It looks like they're here to fix my electric. Nice. We had a really bad storm out here yesterday. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a good thing. So anyhow, I want you guys to recognize toxic people. Don't feel bad about shedding it. Don't feel bad about being busy. Don't let them say that you're just making excuses. You have got to stand up for yourself. And it's not selfish to try to grow yourself. You know, it's not selfish to want to do what you want to do. I mean, in the end, you take only you when you die. In the end, when you answer to God, you're only answering for yourself, not for everybody else. Okay? So treat everybody with kindness and compassion because you know you were once there. and then move forward and grow. Try to help those that will grow with you, but the ones that will not, separate from. And when you're up here looking back, all you could do is pray for those people. Maybe they'll come to a point in time when they're ready. Maybe that you will be an example for them. And maybe that the ones you loved will grow and come find you later. But if not, they're only just a setback. So make sure you just focus on you and what you need. Make you happy, and that's what life's about. All right, stay tuned for more. Much love. Keep rising vibrations, recreate, live in your passions, grow your passions. What you want to do, study on that. Grow yourself. Love you guys all. I'll be back next weekend.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about my mom.
Oh, it's okay, buddy. Oh, we're recording. Sorry.